Well, there's a lot of artists who've done that, especially. I hate bringing up the Nigerian scene, there's a lot of artists who, people like Burna Boy and them. Those guys are not Yoruba, but they've made international hits with Yoruba. Like they have used the language to, and that kind of. So, I get both parts of it. I think it's a very touchy subject because it's cultural, and culture has to do with identity and people's identities, and it's one of the major things that we are going through in the world.
This is Hendrick sound.
Nobody can go you, my woman. Nobody come close to you, my woman. You're so beautiful. If you leave me, I'll cry a river. If you leave me, I can't tell you. Quick. Una yo Sianda, na ichapa chini ya waba. Salamanda mechi naweza. Inanyaka back up your bumper. Una yo Sianda, na ichapa chini ya waba. Salamanda mechi naweza. Inanyaka back up your bumper.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 119 of the 30% podcast, the show where we take music industry gossip and make it factual. I go by Afabefuna. My co-host goes by Sam Ari, and we welcome you guys to the greatest podcast in the land. Sam, what's up?
We don't take music gossip and make it factual. Actually, wait, we kind of do take music gossip and make it factual. If I'm thinking about it. Oh man, what's up? We're sellouts. We're sold out already. Imagine.
We're not sellouts. What do you mean we're sellouts, Sam? Sellouts. We're just listen.
We've sold out for a pretty penny, for an ugly penny. We've sold out.
Why? Because we're giving people facts? Because we're doing the research? Because we're doing true journalism?
True journalism. You can never put gossip and true journalism in the same sentence. Are you hearing yourself? This is how I know you're. Maybe you've sold out. Maybe I'm the one holding this thing down, and you're the one who sold out. It's crazy. True journalism, and he's talking about gossip. But hey,
listen.
You're right.
Journalism is a lot of gossip, to be honest. Like, come on,
it's
even
all
if
gossip.
it's like
News is gossip
on the political stage.
Yeah, news is all gossip.
Exactly.
Honestly, it's all gossip. Like when you're talking about politics and who did what. We're gossiping because we don't know. And
we have legends like Wendy Williams, right? Listen, that's a true goat right there.
In Kenya.
Breakfast Club.
I don't know how many people have listened to Wendy Williams on this side. She'll be mentioning the likes of
she's
the likes of who? What's that guy who does he's very popular. He does the Maina. Oh my goodness, I forgot. But he doesn't do interviews, does he? No. Do we have anyone who does like proper interviews in this country? Like interview, except from Mike.
Yes. Where do you think we live, Sam? Like, of course, there's people who do proper interviews.
I mean like the Wendy Williams style, like that talk show style interview, like, and make it a thing. Oh, what's his name?
Oh, in terms of like,
what's
in terms of like a talk show?
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
There is.
What's the guy? He has a Nigerian.
Oh, you're not talking about Oga Obina, are you?
That's yo. Later on, when we get to the whole appropriation conversation, I have a conversation about Kenyans and Nigerians. But let's.
Did you hear the disappointment in my voice? Did you hear the tone?
That's exactly what I'm talking. So he's leading the way. He's. Although I'd like to know what other people are doing that though, because that would be interesting. I feel like that's not a.
I mean, it doesn't have
not
to.
A very
but it doesn't have to be conventional.
Yeah.
Like podcasts. I feel like people do podcasts. A lot of good journalism, like through podcasts or radio shows. I mean, that's fine. Like or TV. I'm sure if anyone is still watching, like
Oh no, they are watching.
There's some good.
They are watching for sure.
Yeah, there's some good journalism taking place. But yeah, man, it's good to be back. It's good to be back with you guys. Listen, we love y'all for sticking with us, like for 119 episodes. Yeah, man. Sam, how have you been? What's up? What you feeling?
What am I feeling?
Yeah, what are you feeling in this moment?
Man. What am I feeling? I'm all right, man. I'm good. I am good. I am
good. That's good.
Burdened with creativity, but I'm good.
Burdened with creativity is a nice place to be, honestly. Like,
it sucks.
I'm trying to be burdened with Why?
What do you mean? What do you think I mean when I say that? do you think I meant something great?
I think I misinterpreted that because I thought you meant like, like the creativity is like on my shoulders. Like I just have so much creativity, like
yes, that's exactly what it is. But it's not as positive as you're making it. It's
why?
Heavy. It's heavy, man. It's just,
come on.
It's a lot. It's a lot that you have to go through as a creative, you know. Anyway, I'm honestly being dramatic for no reason. No, I'm cool. I'm just trying to figure out how to create and be purposeful, I guess, with creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because I'm currently in a place where I'm looking at creativity. For the longest time, I've viewed creativity as an end. Like creativity is complete within itself. But then now I've I've stepped back and I'm having to see creativity as part of the process of being creative. In the sense that it's not just creating the thing, but there's other elements to it, and these elements change. And it's not just like all one thing. So you can be like, as an artist, you're creative, but then now your creative moves past the studio where you actually have to be outside and present what you've created to people, and then now move past that to interpreting how it's just interpreting what their views on your creativity is. It's just a whole spectrum, and so I'm trying to focus on that, and it's just it is quite burdensome.
Okay, Sam has started this podcast on a philosophical note.
But as an artist, you have to go through that. I think, and people might not necessarily articulate it like that. I just do because my brain focuses on thinking about philosophical things a lot of the time. But then, as an artist, I think people get to that point at least once, maybe in their creative process, where you might not necessarily do it, but then you worry about the other aspects of creativity and how it all supports the infrastructure rather than just making the thing, and having it sit wherever you made it. So, yeah. Oh, I have a question for you before we continue. If a flower blooms in the jungle and no one saw it,
okay, yeah,
does it still have worth? Is it still worth something?
Does it still have worth?
Yeah.
This is not becoming a philosophical podcast.
Okay, well, how was your week? What?
No, hold on. This is just the age-old question: is if a tree falls in the forest, does it have
sound? Well, I don't like that question because it's over. I mean, if a tree falls in the a tree falling is going to create sound because sound is created by vibrations and it's going to vibrate at some point. So,
is it? Is it though, Sam? Can you prove that?
No, you're not going
yes, a flower that blooms in a forest and doesn't have somebody to observe it still has worth, I think.
Dang, that's a metaphor for life, actually. My goodness.
It is
entirely too deep for 5 minutes into a podcast.
But the thing, it's more than 5 minutes. But the thing is though, because otherwise then if things only have value when they're observed by other people or other entities, then it just means that then you end up doing things for validation. You know what I mean? Or that nothing is worth anything without it being subjected to somebody else internalizing whatever that is. You know what I mean?
Outside force. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that shouldn't be the case. I think we should value things because they are valuable.
Inherently valuable, right?
Right. I think so. I genuinely do think so. Because I think it's a very selfish way to go about life if you think that you are the sole determiner of whether something else has value, or if I'm not in the forest to witness a tree falling down, then it didn't make sound because I'm the sole determiner of whether things are or are not. You know what I mean? I think it's selfish to go about life that way. And also, objectively, I think if a tree falls because of how you explained it with the vibrations, it does. And I think if something is beautiful like a flower, it is because it is. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Anyway, just
anyway, guys. This is a random thought.
Apart from that,
how are you? I must say that I am fine.
apart from that, I'm all right, man. Just making music and working with people.
Yeah. I don't know if you had me asking myself how I am, because I don't know if I'm gonna get that question. But yeah, man, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. My week has been good as well. Just been creating, just been living life out here in New York. Yeah, man, Sam. To be honest, I don't have much updates to do. But Sam, what did you get up to? I think the people want to know. Like, the people really want to know if you bloomed in the forest and nobody was out there to see it. Like, tell us. Don't leave that silent. Sam, why would you do this to me? Okay, guys, if you're listening to right now, in a podcast, that's the worst thing you can do to somebody. That's the worst thing you can do to somebody. Leaving silence. It's the worst thing that you can do.
Anyway, I don't know. I was outside. It's not a big thing though. I feel like you're playing it up to be like a major thing. It's not a big thing. Anyway, I was outside. Last week.
Someone's outside touching the streets.
Gosh. It wasn't actually the streets. It was
man.
the mist basement. No, last week I said that I was going to go for the Kilele sessions, so I had to go. Just so that I don't seem like a flaky person. Anyway, no, but that's not true. I went out for Kilele. I went out for a couple of days. I was there on Thursday and Friday, I think. Thursday and Friday, both afternoon sessions. It was going from, I think it starts at 10 to 5, I think. So, yeah, so I was there in the afternoon. It was cool. It was cool. I attended a couple of sessions. First of all, like, the vibe in there was just very, like, it's exactly what I expected it to be. It's very it's curated by Santuri. So and even though Santuri has like a specific vibe about them. I don't know what to say. It's very niche. They have a very niche vibe about them, which isn't bad. That's what they focus on. But yeah, so it was I walked in there and I was like, the moment I stepped down there, it was at the mall, it's at the basement. Have you been to the Mist before?
Imagine, I actually have not gone to the Mist.
I don't believe that. Like, you've never been to the Mist.
I swear. Never been to the Mist.
That's incredible. Okay. What? You've never been to the Mist? Why do I feel like that?
Don't
like you came up with the Mist.
Now you're making it like a bigger deal than it is. Like, come on, I haven't been to the Mist.
But no, yeah, so I forgot what I was saying. But it was the basement, the mall, and then walk down the stairs, and then it's there. So that was cool. There were a bunch of workshops going at the same time. So they had like different rooms. They had Monu, they had the Creatives Garage, they had the Mist, Sema Classroom, and Santuri Salon. So every day there would be like different programs running at different time slots in this different rooms, like concurrently. So yeah, it was very interesting. Briefly, I guess the shows the workshops. I was mostly in the workshops. The workshops I went for. I went late to the 2 p.m. one on Thursday, but that's neither here nor there. And then I attended one by Sam. One by Sam Achola. Just talking about art and connection. Sam Achola is the guy who he was part of, I guess, the creators of Usani. Have you heard of Usani, the platform?
Tell us about it.
Usani. Well, it's really a art commerce platform, but it focuses on commerce and creating a community. So it's like it's like a Patreon. I like how he explained it. When someone asked him what it was, he said that it's Patreon with M-Pesa. So that's really what it is. It's just creating a community, and then you're able to like sell your art, sort of kind of deal. So it's a really cool platform. It's coming up. I'm hoping that he gets to focus on it a lot more, so that it's available, because it's a very good platform for artists to be able to monetize their art. And so that was cool. That was really cool. I'm definitely going to be following that. And probably, I mean, it would be good to have someone like him on just to kind of like talk about that. But then, yeah. And then after that, Munyasia was supposed to show up. Munyasia is a producer who does like electronic music. But he didn't show up. I don't know. So I was a little disappointed. I don't know why. I waited for bro, but he didn't show up.
What's the tea? What's the tea, man? Give us a tea.
I don't know.
Why didn't he show up?
I don't have the tea. He wasn't there. I was in the room and he didn't come.
But Sam, that's what the people want to know. The people want to know the tea,
wow, am I supposed to make something up? No. So he wasn't there, but then...
yes.
That's exactly what I'm supposed to do. No. But in this place, Jiwe went. Jiwe is I think they're like a production company that does gaming. They produce like for gaming. So he was on there. I forget his name, but the speaker was on there talking about. When I say speaker, it makes him look like he was a young guy making music for games. But even during that session, I was kind of out and in because I wanted to see what else was going on at that time. And the other things that were going on at that time is people were making instruments. I walked into a room and I saw a bunch of skateboards on the table, and they were using what's it called, a mullet, one of these things with, the thing that you used to hit a xylophone. Yeah, they're like hitting skateboards, and it was making music. And I know that sounds it sounds weird, like, oh, you're so fascinated by that. But when you walk into that room and you actually see what was happening, it's like people are literally making music by hitting skateboards. Like it was a workshop where they were like creating synths and creating, that kind of stuff. So like doing the coding and all that business. So that was cool. That was really cool. very, very
I wonder
artsy.
how some people are so creative, man. Because like for me, man, like I can't just make instruments out of anything. But listen, guys, if this is anything,
it was very
music
artsy.
Is all around us. It's all around you.
I walked in there and I was like,
look around you. Oh, okay. So I'm just stepping on me being. I was trying to be like sentimental and like artsy.
Yo, we're sentimental. No more sentimentality in this podcast. We did that in the first 5 minutes. In fact, we have enough sentimentalism for the rest of the year. But that was cool. I walked in there and I was like, It was interesting. It was very interesting. Very interesting. And then I kind of left there, and I mean, I won't say everything I did, but I left there and I went to the techno. Deconstructing the Kenyan Sound, which was by Mura and Maeve. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But then they were just playing music. That was now at the Mist, the Mist itself. They're just playing like techno music, and it was interesting seeing what people were up to. What else? I think I had to leave after that. I didn't really stay for the end. And then I was there on Thursday. And on Thursday, I got there in the afternoon, so I missed like most of the morning sessions. But I caught a workshop. There was a workshop at 2 p.m., which was like an FL Studio workshop. So of course I was going to go in there because FL Studio is my tool of trade. So that was being facilitated by the Basma. Sambuga was there. Yalison he was also in there. It was cool. It was just watching people, I guess, who were interested in make music. When I walked in there, it was sounding like a mess, but you can't really. There's people making music.
What?
And it sounded like a mess. Not like no speakers were. There was like 3 speakers going at the same time, and everyone was like on stations making music. So it was just like I was like, "What's?"
That's what you mean.
What's going on? What's going on here? But it was interesting. And
it was overstimulating.
Yeah, it was messy. So then there was that. What else did I attend? Oh, there was a guy called Let me get his name. This program. Sorry,
did you attend any of the performances? I know some artists were performing. I feel like Elsie Wameo had a performance. Did you see any of that stuff, or you mostly just did the exhibition / what did you call them?
They're like workshops.
Yeah, the workshops.
Before, so I didn't attend any specific performances. Because the performance, I think it was on Tuesday and Saturday, if I'm not wrong. No, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday and Saturday. But I'd left before then. Had other things to do in my life, so I wasn't able to attend.
Okay.
But yeah, the last, I guess, session I talk about is by a guy called Joshua Madalitso. He's a Zimbabwean artist, producer. And so it was a very cool session where he took us through the history of, do they call it Songora music, or is that the label? But then it's the history of like the traditional, the music that comes from Zimbabwe and all their greats, and the people who, have sort of built the sound. And then now he's on a thing called the New Jeet Wave, where he played like his evolution of that old sound and, making it more modern, So it was very good, very informative. Just learning about Zimbabwe and the rich history of their music and sort of how that music has influenced other music markets. So shout out to him, man. He has a project. I don't know if it's on streaming. I didn't catch that, but I think he had a vinyl of it somewhere. So you could check him out. Give him support. It's pretty interesting just seeing the blend between old school, literally old school Zimbabwean music and new school Zimbabwean music. It'd be really cool to see that done here in our beautiful land of Kenya. But that was that. It was good. It was interesting. It was, a bunch of people were there. It looked very lively. There was one guy who was playing with the talking drums. I don't know.
I love me a talking drum.
Yeah, it was just fascinating. He's from somewhere from West Africa, and he was so elated by the fact that he could play his talking drum. He just looked so happy. Shout out to him. I didn't get his name, but yeah, it was cool. It was a very good program to attend. Very informative, I think. I didn't attend the last performances, but I'm sure they went well. You would have enjoyed it, I think. I think you would have enjoyed it, honestly.
Sounds like it was a success. I saw a bunch of stuff on social media. It looks like people enjoyed themselves. And I did see a few people playing like random things and making music. So, shout out to Kilele. I think it's a good initiative. To get people educated.
I think this was their second year, if I'm not wrong. So I'm probably going to have it again next year. It's good. But that was that.
Nice.
That was
that
Kilele Summit.
Thank you for your recap.
By Santuri.
Thank you for your recap, man. Listen, real journalism, guys. Like, we actually go out to the field. Actually, this is what we call field work in journalism. I'm so sorry. Sam.
Yep.
So I was on the internet looking at stuff, and I saw a headline that was low-key. Well, some people would be like, good riddance, we don't need you here anymore. While other people might be like a bit worried as to why this is a headline. And the headline I'm talking about was Chris Brown, or why Chris Brown will never have a concert in Kenya again. And granted, we know his past and we know a lot of people don't support Chris Brown, but the implications as to why he said he wouldn't perform are very interesting. So this comes out of an interview that was held with Joy Washira, who's the MD of Mad Fun Group. And she or they are the people who are bringing Burna Boy to the country. And she actually gives an in-depth interview into that whole situation and the stress that she's been going through, organizing such a high logistic operation.
Sure.
Like, it's just looks like it's a very, very like complex thing with very many moving parts.
Bringing in a lot of people.
I think the interesting thing she said though was that apparently they first reached out to Chris Brown, who immediately turned them down, Sam. Like, the thing is, he says that
quickly
just don't.
He didn't even think about it. He quickly turned them down. Didn't even think about it. It's like he already knew if they ask, he's going to turn them down. ridiculous.
That's so well. Okay, so they're like, okay, interesting, but maybe they low-key dodged the bullet because I know there would have been a lot of like backlash. Well, there was a lot of backlash like in SA when he went to perform there, but I feel like people still went. I mean, 180,000 people.
I don't think they considered that though. Like in terms of the backlash, I don't think, because I think it's. I feel like. It's not necessarily only American artists, but then I feel like Africa is a place where a lot of these artists come when there are a number of things are happening. One, they're fading away, or they kind of need to lay low for a while. So then that's when they organize a world tour that includes Africa. But the other times, apparently, world tours do not include Africa. So I don't necessarily think that I don't think that it's probably because of the whole Chris Brown controversy, and definitely people are still looking at that. But then I think it's more of they probably forgot about that, or it's not a big factor in what they're talking about, because they actually approached him and he said
no. So. But I'm just saying that like whenever they approached him like to perform in South Africa, there was a lot of like people who were not happy with the decision. Obviously, at the end of the day, it was kind of overruled because it was a huge success with 90,000 people appearing for the show back to back. I'm just saying there was like some people who were not happy with the decision. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point is, he says the reason for turning down the approach made by Madfun was we just don't have the infrastructure. Apparently, he's saying that he's trying to do a show, like he has a specific show that he's trying to curate. I mean, if you saw the videos coming out of SA, like he was on those zip line things.
He was flying around.
Flying across the arena.
Climbing ladders and whatnot. Yeah, imagine, where would they do that here?
And he's just kind of saying we don't have the infrastructure. Apparently, money isn't the issue. It says that last time he performed in Kenya, he was paid $900,000 to perform for 90 minutes. Damn, that's good. That's good money. But I think for him, it's not the money. He just thinks we don't have the infrastructure, which, I mean, raises the question. I've seen a lot of conversation online about, I think it's... who was saying, well, people were saying that instead of building malls, we should be building arenas in the country and stuff like that. And
wait a minute, wait. That's out. Do you know how many malls we have in this country? Like, we have malls,
so many malls
everywhere. We need to have that. But I don't know what the government is up to. But then that's something to look at. The Nairobi, what we should look at, because a lot of these guys want to come to Kenya to perform. So we should create, the infrastructure, like he said, like create the infrastructure to be able to accommodate them, if we're able to afford those tickets.
I agree. Like, bro, we have way too many malls, and I think a lot of people speculate. I'm not saying this is allegedly, but like a lot of people speculate that all the malls in our country are just like money laundering fronts and everything. And
wash.
You go to a bunch of you go to a bunch of those like stores, and like there's
it's
no
all
one,
empty.
And
that's the thing about it too. There's so many empty malls. Like you'll find one or two stalls, and then the rest of it is just white walls and nothing else.
But it's true. If you ever go to somewhere like Two Rivers, man, like some of those shops just look so deserted, and you're like, and they have like such high-end things in them, and like, how are y'all paying for your rent to be in this? Like, it starts to look a little bit iffy.
No.
Really,
it's
like,
honest people
pay attention.
Making an honest living. Afam, you know that. Come on.
Some of them are.
Don't think the worst of people all the time. That's all I'm trying to say.
Oh my God. So anyway, I think we need to invest in more arenas. To be honest.
Do, man. It's embarrassing to be turned down by. It's embarrassing to be turned down by an artist who is not even like in the people's favor, and he's turning us down because our infrastructure is not good enough. That's embarrassing. That's ridiculous.
And the truth is, like, there's so much revenue. Like, as much as it's going to be a very high investment, I think there's so much revenue to be gained from having these type of things. Because just think about, like, it's not something that you use once and then you're done. Like, it's something that you can use over and over again. And it's very dynamic because you can repurpose an arena or something of the sort for so many different kinds of shows and so many different kinds of like events. So I think we need to definitely think about like the production aspect of our shows and stuff like that, because bro, I think we are missing out on so many dope experiences. I know a lot of people always complain like, how come all these artists never come see us, or they never come like whenever they announce tours. Yes, I think it's a combination of, obviously they overlook Africa as a whole, which is annoying as fuck, but there's also an element of us being able to house some of these kinds of events and curations, like, because I think for the most part, most of our events are like, there's a stage and then there's this and that, like it's very like straightforward, but sometimes there's way more different like innovative stuff that people have been doing in the event space, and we need to start looking to be able to like even accommodate these new these just new things, you know what I mean? Like we can't just always stay stuck in the past. Also, we can't just still be figuring out how to like do good sound and stuff like that. I think we need to really level that sector up.
I thought we were supposed to focus on our own artists. So how do you?
We should. We should though. We should. No, but that's still the same thing. I think our own artists also need to like now start really. I think it starts at home for sure. Let's curate like shows that are phenomenal, like international level shows with our artists, and afford them that like opportunity to just do some of these crazy things, you know what I mean? Like have stages where like you pop up from the middle and then like you're flying here and then there and then I think like I don't know, I don't like how we have this like when we think about things like there's like a separation. It's like, okay, this is what we do and this is what they do. Like,
wait, what do you mean?
I think
what do you mean by that?
Can do.
What do you mean by that?
Like I feel like sometimes I feel like we box ourselves into what we know and how we've done things, instead of thinking like everything is like merged and we have the capability to be as creative or as innovative as everyone else, right? I was telling Sam the other day, bro, like one thing I like that lets me down a little bit is like when you look at visuals, like in music videos and stuff like that. Like
I was just about to go there actually.
Music videos are like, we're still trying to do like,
basic.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, very basic in terms of like, they don't push the envelope. They don't add anything new creatively. We're still trying to figure out how to how to create on that level, rather than using our minds, rather than using our minds and resources to create something new. We're trying to figure out how to create, want to make it like that. Want the music video to look good.
Because for me, the argument is like, people know how to make high quality music videos in the country. That's not the issue. The issue is, but where is the creativity? I feel like some people create like high quality videos that would have been aesthetically pleasing like in 2012, right? And it's high quality, don't deny it. But we're looking for like creativity, something different, something that's just like not...
Tell a story.
What you usually expect. You know what I mean? Like,
tell a story in a different way.
Aside from, exactly, in a different way. Like, use different textures, use different, like, editing techniques, or just, like, because we can. And a few people, I see a few young artists, like, trying to push the envelope. But then you see it's very limited by their access to finance and like funds and resources. So it's not, they're not able to like really like reach wide audiences. But I don't think we should remain in that mindset where like we only do things in one way because we only have the capability to do things one way, and the rest of the West or whoever, like, or like Nigeria, like, you know, they have like some know-how that's like way beyond our you know what I mean, bro?
Yeah, I think
we are as good and as creative as all these other guys.
It's I think it's the burden of the Kenyan. It's the burden of the Kenyan industry, because what we're trying to do now, as much as people might say it's not, but then when you look at the blueprint and you look at how people are moving and the things that they value within the creative space, even the influences, we're definitely trying to move towards the Western style of creativity. It's not everyone, of course, but then there are certain elements in there that when you look, you're like, okay, you're trying to do this, you're trying to, even the way people are going about things. And that's maybe it's a challenge to, rather than try and grow towards the Western ideal of what creativity should be, maybe we should try and innovate and do something different, you know. And in the beginning, it's going to look strange, it's going to look weird, because people are not, our minds are not tuned to that. But then the more we do it, then it becomes I mean, even with music, it's like the whole thing, the whole discussion about having a Kenyan sound and whatnot, it's just us trying to achieve something that we've already seen being achieved, which makes sense because success breeds desire for more success. And then if you've seen something work, you really just want to do that. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm making sense. But then it's with the videos, it's with our shows, like getting past just, you know, performing, getting past. I don't even know if I've seen too many shows like Smoke Machines, and just getting past the normal status quo of what you should do at a show and throwing out that rule book and then starting from scratch and doing something completely different that aligns with your art. And then now people here would be used to that and used to the difference in it. And that will also attract other markets, because like, oh, what are those guys doing there? That's completely different. I want to perform there, kind of deal. So it's with everything. So the music, it's with videos, video. It's even with in us, but I don't know too much about that. But it's with the movie scene, the cinema scene.
But listen, it's not to say that people don't innovate. That's not the point. I just feel like I wish the innovation was now like even in the mainstream. I feel like the innovation that happens tends to be very niche. And I guess that's innovation in a nutshell. But like, we want to make that stuff more mainstream, you know. So yeah. And also with this article, or with what Joy Washira was saying, it's very interesting if you guys read it. I guess it's on Business Daily. If you're looking to get into the world of event organizing, it sounds like it's high risk, high reward stuff. I don't know what you felt reading the article, but Burna Boy's band has 61 people. I'm just like, that's insane. They're called the Outsiders, and logistically it sounds,
that's a nightmare like logistically, and apparently they're not all where he is. There's some of them in the UK, some like you're bringing in people from all around the world for that, like it.
Some are in Nigeria, some are in the UK, some are in America, and then you have to transport
Imagine planning
their gear.
Yeah, it's interesting though. Burna Boy's demands are interesting. He, first off, I just found this funny. Burna Boy only flies private jets, which makes sense, I guess, as an artist. Although, I don't know. I have feelings about that I'll keep to myself. But then, yeah, he only flies private jets, and he flies separately from his band, because he has to get into the mood away from his band, obviously. And he only stays in five-star hotels.
That have access to a smoking lounge.
Yeah. And apparently needs to be champagne in there. It's just and then he's bringing the 60 people in. Oh my goodness, like just planning a show for. And it's interesting because the last time he was in Kenya apparently was, when was he in Kenya last? It was years ago, wasn't it? It was pandemic, before the pandemic.
It was years ago.
Yeah. So he's, I mean, from then his price has gone up drastically. Now he charges $1 million for around 128, 129 28 to 30 million shillings for a show, which is quite a bit. And so when she says that it's high risk, you're giving all of that. You don't know whether, especially here, you don't know whether that show is going to be a success. And Burna Boy has had his runnings with the Kenyan crowds. So, man, shout out to her. Like, congratulations. Like, if you pull this off, like this, he's coming on the March 1st, I think, is the date of the performance, if I'm not wrong.
So it's literally, I'm guessing they should be arriving in the country this week. So
yeah, man,
it's gonna be exciting. I wonder if he's gonna come with Chloe Bailey. Anyway, we'll see.
He should for sure. She's definitely that's who the private jet is for. That's why the band is not there. It's just him and Chloe. It's crazy. He needs her to.
That'd be so sick.
He needs her to get himself in the zone, so he can perform.
Do you think so? He's definitely gonna do media. Do you think he's just gonna do the same media as usual, or do you think he'll try something different?
Oh, you say definitely. I don't think he's definitely going to do media. I don't think it's a given.
Okay,
Burna Boy has this thing where
when Rema comes to the.
It's Rema. Burna Boy and Rema are two completely different people. Rema is still portrayed as like a kid in the industry. As much as he's a big player, he's still portrayed as a kid, and you can still. I feel like Burna Boy has more of a pride to him, and I don't necessarily mean that in a negative way. But I feel like if he doesn't want to do media, he's not doing media. You can't make him do media, and when I see Burna Boy, I don't see Burna Boy going around talking to radio stations, honestly. He might, though. He might shock us and grace your favorite radio station in the morning. So,
I hope he does. I think it would be interesting.
We'll see. Well, there's a difference between that and then actually like doing a proper interview. Because again, some of them will be like, okay, I'm doing an interview, then they'll just go and sit there and be the most straight, basic answers type person that you could be.
So tell us about your relationship with Chloe Bailey. We've been seeing you guys having fun on social media.
And then again, we don't really have a good track record in asking questions to artists. Like, they just go for the lowest hanging fruit when there's so much you can learn and know. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. I really just hope that that it doesn't enter a situation where he wigs out and leaves. Like he's known to do.
And leaves. He would have just leave. Yeah. But hey, listen, I know a lot of people are really, really banking on this. So listen, we're going to be watching. And this is going to be a big moment for some of the acts that are also on the lineup.
We don't know too many details about the show yet, but it'll be interesting to see.
Well, we know enough. We know enough to know that it looks like it's gonna be a good show. Sam, did you listen to Sianda? Actually, did you watch the video?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of hoopla about it. Savara is being smart. Savara is I don't know he's doing this on purpose, but then he's getting people talking, which is good for him. It's good for his solo career. But yeah, Sianda.
Oh yeah. No. I know wherever Savara is, whether or not the conversation is positive or negative, he's happy that this conversation. Like
yeah, people were writing think pieces about him. Yeah.
Yeah. In music, all press is like really good because like now it's just like benefiting. Either way, everyone is gonna go and check out the song to see what everyone is talking about. So the person who wins here is Savara.
Yeah, but I mean, he released Sianda, the music, the song and the video, and
so
people were
I wanted to start before even we get to the outrage. Like, is it a good song? What do you think? Do you like the song? Do you like the production? Hendrick Sam. And is the uproar like warranted based off of that? Let me start with my opinion. I think the song is actually decent. I think it's catchy. It's not like a complex song, and it's not meant to be a complex song. So I listened to it and I was like, yeah, I mean, this is Savara. It looks like it's just having fun. I didn't mind the song as a song.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Savara is definitely he's trying something. We clearly see it because his last song and this one have. It's not the last song was like a compa track, right? And then this one has it's not completely separate from like I can see the whole idea of what he's doing and just how he's writing and the chants and everything like that. So it's just watching. I guess he's trying to move away from the popular amapiano type sound, which is good, I think. Yeah. So in terms of the song is okay. Not necessarily like my type of song, but then it's cool. The instrumental is there's a lot of energy on there. And yeah, I don't know if he's the only writer. I think there's more writers on the track. But yeah, and then the video also saw them trying to do something different, which is interesting. I feel like he's sitting there trying to look at how he can be different and push things. So that was cool. But
I mean, with the video makes sense though, because Sianda is looking for a girl with a Sianda, so maybe. But then this is where the criticism like comes. Well,
yeah,
I'll start with the low level criticism. The low level criticism on his choice of model and all, that's like, guys, come on, like, what are we doing here? That we're not even paying attention to that. Now, that's the high level.
Yeah,
come on. The high level criticism, or what was really the major like talking point was cultural appropriation, because there was now everyone is. I feel like with this renaissance that's happening right now with the Afropop scene, the emergence of things like Kodong Clan and everything, there's a huge there's a huge emphasis on Luo culture.
Yeah.
Also because of the people who are in the forefront, making this music. And I guess the issue that people have been bringing up online is that a lot of people are now seeing what's happening and are just bandwagoning themselves and using some of these, popular phrases like Sianda, for example, or just things to be part of the conversation and kind of use the culture to benefit themselves. So that's what I saw a lot of people talking about, like online.
Yeah.
And they're like, even the context in which you're saying some of these things isn't how we'd say it. Like,
yeah, the phrase is
that's
out
valid.
of context.
and Sam, that's valid. Like, because I'm not a Luo, so I can't speak for that. You know what I mean? So if that's what they're saying, then that's what they're saying. So how do you feel about people using culture in their music, and these people not necessarily being part of that culture? Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm split on it, because I think it depends on the intent, what the intention is.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people just be doing things because they're also trying to spread awareness and because they find it cool. And then there's also sometimes when people are just using something to further their own success.
Yeah.
And we've seen some of the greats do it, like Kanye West, where they'll align themselves with specific artists and use them for all their worth, and then change their sound for an album or two, and then after that, once they have rinsed this artist out of their everything that they have, then they move on to the next thing. So obviously you can see there's an element of just using what's popping at the time. But then there's also artists who are just really just trying to like integrate something cool and kind of because they find it interesting. So I don't know. It's a difficult conversation to have.
Yeah.
I mean, I see both sides, man.
I see both sides in it where first off, culture is really important. When we have the conversation about how we can further Kenyan music, culture is a part of that conversation, and what the different facets of Kenyan culture, not just a specific one, and so we can't have that conversation without discussing what culture means to people and whether or not that culture is free to use, free for use. Because the criticism is there's like little pockets, like, so you're not traditionally part of this culture, and so it's it's gatekeeping culture. Honestly, it is, and it might be good, it might be bad. I think it has both sides. So they gatekeep the culture in the sense that you can't appropriate, you can't use elements of our culture to further your art creatively. We're the only ones allowed to do that. So that's the extreme side of it. There's people on the other side who are like, you know what, art is art, and we all in some way use different cultures to be able to further ourselves, and to be able, not even just to further ourselves, because that puts a negative connotation in it, but to create. We all use different things to create. And so I'm in the middle of it where I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying, especially if, now the thing about it is you've talked about intention, and then also if you're not really doing the culture justice and you're just taking and, oh, this word sounds cool and it's completely out of context or whatever, and then you say it. Now that I have a problem with, because I feel like especially if you're not from that culture, it might be good to respect it. But then there's the rebellious side of me, which is like, bruh, like people can do whatever they want with words and meaning is only assigned to whoever wants to assign. It's a free for all.
That can be no. Well, it is a free for all, but to a certain extent, I feel like that's. I mean, you wouldn't hop on a track saying stuff like in, I don't know, Arabic or something just to say it because it sounds cool.
Well, there's a lot of artists who've done that, especially, I hate bringing up the Nigerian scene, there's a lot of artists who, in like people like Burna Boy and them, those guys are not Yoruba, but they've made international hits with Yoruba. Like they have used the language to, and that kind of, so I get both parts of it. I think it's a very touchy subject because it's cultural, and culture has to do with identity, and people's identities, and like, it's one of the major things that we are going through in the world is like identity issues, in terms of society. So for someone to be able to use that, to use a culture that they're not part of, you have to really navigate that carefully.
Well, and I think, if you look at Sianda and you look at the credits, you'll see Uaya Tajiri's in there. There's Julius Okelo.
Yeah. So that makes sense
as well,
doesn't it?
So there is people behind him that are like, then the conversation might shift to like, okay, but like, are these people cheapening the culture, like
by having someone who is not of the culture perform what they're writing? So now that starts to sound ridiculous to me.
That's how people are gonna say.
That sounds ridiculous, and that's why I'm on the other side of it, where I'm like, listen, at the end of the day, it's also art, right? So we have to hold art a little less, what's it called? Like more loosely. Like we need to hold it in terms of like, stop being so analytical and everything. Sometimes it's art. And that's extreme. But
okay, in this case, I feel like it's because it's not like, because it's a feel-good song and it's not something that's like very like touchy in terms of its subject, then it doesn't feel as though there should be any limitations, because it feels like he's just really trying to spread like a feel-good vibe, right? So in this case, in this instance, then I would fall into the category of, let's use cultures and make like wavy things. And I mean, it better than me, like as a producer, whenever you implement different like sounds and different cultures and different like genres and mix them together, that's when you really start cooking. That's when you really start making like some really like
some of your best work,
thought-provoking stuff. Yeah, it's true, but that's true. But then I guess like now if it's now negative, so it just depends on the product. If the product is like now in poor taste, then that's when you fall on the other side of the fence. So I think with this conversation, it has to be on a case by case basis.
And also, if I'm being honest,
that's the only way.
Speaking about it for me is a little bit weird. Again, because I'm sort of caught up in the middle of it just mentally, and maybe this is just me, because I'm like, I'm not from the. It's like I feel the effect of the gatekeeping, even though I have not been gatekept. I'm not from the culture, so I don't feel completely adequate to speak on it like that. But I do understand that, and that's what I'm saying. Like there's almost like a free for all in terms of art, where if you have an interpretation of it, you're able to, present that forward in whatever medium you're using.
But listen, if the people of that culture, even if you had the best intentions, let's say you had the best intentions, you made a song using like coast culture, and it's catchy, it's a vibe, and your intentions were really pure, right? Let's just give that as an example. But then those people say, "Hey, we don't fuck with this." Then I guess at that point, if people raise that question and they're like, "Yo, we don't like what you did with our culture," then you just have to stop, even if all your intentions were good.
No. But then what? But how does that work, though?
I feel like you have to.
No, wait. How does that work? Because obviously, not every single person is going to be going down down that direction. So, do you listen to the majority, and then what does that mean?
But if there's an overwhelming majority of people who are like, "Nah, we don't like."
But what if you as an artist identify with the minority more?
Then I think that's not the way to look at it. I think you have to look at the people who have owners of the culture and take I think their perspective holds way more weight.
But what I'm saying, anything. I'm saying, but what I'm saying is not everybody would be for or against something. There's different aspects. So now the thing is, how do you weigh it out? That's kind of what I'm saying. It's a very, identity and culture is very...
So like you see in this case with Savara, it's very split. Well, and actually, to be honest, I'd say the minority are the ones who have problems. Because me, I've seen most of the things I've seen is overwhelmingly positive. So, if I'm Savara, I would, because I don't think he has any bad intentions, right? I would go along with it. And also the fact that the people who are writing the music along with him are people of that culture. I'd feel a little bit more confident, like, leaving it up. But I'm just saying, bro, like, if more people than not are saying that, yo, this shit is just not cool, because, like, we see what you're doing. And,
I know.
I mean, it's like with the Elvis, like, Sam, it's like with the Elvis example about how he's always been used as a front to kind of like because they knew at the time black artists weren't gonna break through to the mainstream, so they had him kind of cover a bunch of black artists' music, and that's what got accepted by the mainstream. Now, Elvis on his own, just Elvis as an individual, you might say he didn't have bad intentions and stuff, but I think that's in general in poor taste, because then what happens to the artists who should have reaped the benefits that Elvis did, but didn't, because Elvis was the white artist who the industry was willing to back. You know what I mean? So Elvis himself, I don't think he was trying to be like an evil guy just using people, but the industry as a whole, what they were doing. So yeah, it is problematic that someone like Elvis got away with doing that. And I think a huge amount of the black community, especially now, looking back at that stuff, kind of feels a type of way about it. And they do have a right to feel a type of way about it, I think.
You see how, and that's the thing with it is it's on either side, because I think there would be some people in Tennessee who are in uproar about Beyonce winning. Do you remember the whole country album controversy? Like, they'll be like, okay, that kind of deal. But all I'm saying is it goes.
No, but Sam, I would break that down. I would break that down because country music is not white. Like, country music, bro, we know the origins. Even rock music, we know the origins of that music is not from white people. So it is fine for Beyonce to win a country award because that stuff originates from the black people. Like, if you really look at the history. So their anger would be misplaced, is what I would say.
Listen, I think it again, and I don't want to keep saying this, but then I think it gets very, very dicey, and culture politics is a real thing in terms of certain people might feel like they're entitled to a specific like art form or whatever more than the other people, and it also it shifts, and it's just so complicated. That's why I guess overall I'm more for using common sense and reading the room, number one, and then also I guess after that I'd be like, listen, we really can't gatekeep culture in that sense. But it's really important for whoever is doing the art to read the room and sort of understand what it is what's going on within what they're trying to use. And art is art, man. Like, we can't bar people from creating in a specific way, I guess, as long as it makes sense and it is not causing harm to that particular culture. Of course, that's subjective, but then that's, bro. If we start going into the individual details of everything, it gets messy. But I don't know, man. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a hard one.
Like I said, I don't know if I'm the best person to speak about this, but we understand it though, because I think generally we do that almost every day in terms of the kind of culture. Even you and I, like, we're not unless you are different. Sure. From when you go into your room, are you like pulling up bongos and traditional instruments, or are you hopping on?
Listen, we've all made amapiano beats at some point. Yeah. We're not from South Africa, like, you know what I mean? But South Africans do feel a type of way about how Nigerians have used amapiano as well. So
exactly. And it's very difficult, because then the Nigerians are like, okay, but we've taken it and we've made it our own, and so then there's our culture. It's so it's so convoluted. It's so much into it. Yeah.
That's why Sam. All me, I'm saying it just we can only just assess these things on a case by case basis, right? Like, otherwise, it kind of sucks if all of a sudden then it's like everybody with their culture, do your cultural thing. Everyone shouldn't like mix. You know what I mean? Like, then that just becomes so boring. It's like I want to hear rock music and Anyatiti or something, you know what I mean? Like, I want to hear like how that sounds, right? Like, could you just put Anyatiti on a bunch of amps and like pedals and see how that sounds? You know what I mean? Let's try. Like, there. That's interesting. Somebody somewhere would find issue with that, but I don't know.
You can't gatekeep art, man. For the most part.
It's a hard one. I think it just depends on how you do it as well. That's why I say it's just a case by case basis.
But you have to be wise about it. You have to be smart about it, and not just not.
Ultimately, I think you should try. You shouldn't try to be using the culture. Don't use it. Add value or just like highlight it.
You can use it.
I don't know.
Use it.
No, you can't just use it.
What do you mean?
You can't
That's
just
all
use it
we're using different. That's all we do in creativity is use different things.
Sam, if you just made music and like infuse like the haka, like let's say you just get like some of the things they say in the haka from New Zealand, bro, you get so much hate if you don't understand.
No, but that doesn't, because you got hate doesn't necessarily mean that you using the haka is wrong, is it?
No, it does. Yeah, it does mean that it's wrong.
No,
if you get hate from it, from the people in. It does. If the people in New Zealand disagree with you using the haka, and they're the people who originated the. And I say the people, I mean like a majority of the people disagree with you using that in your music, then you are wrong for using it if you don't understand the cultural significance.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm always going to fall on almost. I mean, I understand using being smart about it when you have, and be respectful about the culture when you use it. But then I think I lean more on the side of just do what you want. Don't be disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful. We can't gatekeep art. It's ridiculous. But those are pretty extreme views. I don't know. And also, I'd be asking for permission for some of these things. So I guess we could get to new music. So Sianda dropped. I guess other things dropped.
I mean, Sianda dropped for sure. What else dropped this week?
Run through some stuff. What did you listen to? Okay, actually, no. Let me just mention a few things, I guess, that came on my radar, and then not too many. Sondela and Dunda, I really enjoyed that one. Some Afro house. That was pretty interesting to me. Of course, Nesmburu, Idaziz, they were on the timeline. I liked a song called Wangui by Keyloud, Lonely Night, Salim Jr., which part of the other conversation is the whole scene. Of course, we won't get into it, but the whole scene, and there's also been talks about how, the white, our Caucasian brothers are on the other side and sisters are appropriating Kenyan culture by, using it in the specific way.
Well, at least they're using Kenyans. No, but at least they have Kenyans on the song.
Yeah, like, no, but I'm saying that there's been conversations about them. Like, why are they, and why is it that they're doing Afro house and they're not from Afro? So that's been also part of it. I don't know. It's just, anyway, not to bring that back up, but but like you said, for these guys,
it's better than having a random European China sing in Kikuyu.
And they've tried. Believe me, they've tried. I've heard some songs.
That would be a nightmare.
There's been some Kenyan artists also. Well, Kenyan is a very loose term, but then Kenyan artists who've done that and they've got flack for that. But anyway, so yeah, that was out. I enjoyed that. Television dropped Songa, which was interesting. I always like a television release. Let me see, what else did I pay attention to? Quiz dropped an album. Yeah, I think it's a 10-song, 30-minute project. It was good. It was interesting listening to a body of work from him. I don't think I've listened to a body of work from him, even if he's dropped some. But yeah, that was pretty interesting, if I'm being honest. Let me see. Was there something else? Was there something else? I don't know if I paid attention to much else this week, if I'm being honest with you. Maybe you could.
Okay.
Save me.
Let me tag in. So I listened to Khartoum by Ochungulu Family. So many funny one-liners on that song. So you'll check it out. The video is also out. Listen to Long Story by Toxic Lyrically. Just for the storytelling alone, I was so locked in. Like what a song, man, and what an ability to tell a story. So the video to that is also out. The video is actually very thought-provoking as well. Then there was what else did I listen to? Mapake by Masterpiece King. That was good. I want to shout out my boy Jovi Jove and K Mush. They released the song Shrap OG. Everybody who knows Jovi Jove knows he originated Shrap. And it's good to see them still out here doing it. I thought the beat was really unique.
That was shout cool. Out to also Butchers has K Mush. Butchers has a week to respond. So yeah.
No. Both of them started. Both of them started Sharp.
Well, I'm trying to create some strife.
Me from what may have had. Actually, let me be honest. Me from what I've had, it was actually Jovi, but then Jovi originated it, and then Butchos was also doing shit at the time, and then they linked up and they were like, yo, this rap thing is good. Then they started doing it together.
And do you know that's
the story.
Do you know what's funny about this conversation is that we could be thinking that then there's one guy randomly in a room somewhere who was actually the originator of it. And he's just there like, oh, these are all my sons, but it's okay. Hey, it's music, it's art. That's that's what it is, I guess.
Let's see. A lot is happening by New Funk. New Funk is steady releasing his music, especially that brings attention to a lot of the things that are happening in the society. There was what else was there? What else haven't I? There was so much music. Keithan released something with Wanavokali Niangalie, which is also a good listen.
Speaking of Keithan, he also sold out his show with which is, I guess it's just interesting to mention, this whole silent listening thing that we've not seen many people do, where so that was a live looping, and then you put on headphones. You're not listening to a concert, you're listening to it on your headphones, which is essentially how the artist, it's easier to listen to music not easier, it's more accurate listening to music on your headphones, because it's, it's closer to, like, you can tell, like, it's much closer to you than a show or music coming out from speakers from the front. I don't know if I'm making sense, but anyway, I also say that's pretty cool. Yeah. More artists, I guess, should do that.
So then I was gonna say there was Denda by Mbuzigang Harry Craze. I even forgot Furthermore was part of a collective because he's been moving solo for so long. I forgot about the whole Mbuzigang thing. But go watch the video. Very familiar surroundings. Then there was... there was also Kiroho by Soundcraft, Spoiler, and my guy Ran Scooby, who I am saying is the best Abanton artist. Anyway, the song that stood out to me the most, Sam, was Donja by Hendrick, Ngugi, and Udulele. I really particularly like... I particularly like the hook to it. It's so catchy, so well done. And yeah, man, who would have thought? Like, I'm really vibing with this sound now. Like, yo. So shout out to Udulele and Hendrick Ngugi. And for me, I think that's the song I'd like to play for the end of the podcast.
Let's do it.
So
let's do it.
If you'd allow me, I'd love to play Donja by Hendrick Ngugi and Udulele.
Chake mwalo, bate kanyo, malo matin, wadok mwalo, toke kanyo, ya wakikisurga, hero kanyo, mule kanyo, kora winje, jaber mitiawa, kikiluolga, Meda Martin, donge mitiawa. Haya
Waliza mapemba. Okay, waliza mapemba. So,
mula mos, tera mos. Mula mos, tera mos. Kawono marathon. Teramos mulamos teramos mulamos teramos kawono marathon teramos Aya jabira yini mitga o mit maiye koro kendo wanwoe matindu santo koro wachake mwalo to kwa wuok mwalo kanyo wadhi malo matin ki wuok malo to waduok dire kanyo kiki dhi miyo pio dimna mos alafu kiche di mos tichake matin alafu donja to kendo wantiere mana ni donja Donja, donja. 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 Mula mos, tera mos. Mula mos, tera mos. Kawano marathon. Tera mos. Mula mos, tera mos. Mula mos, tera mos. Kawano marathon. Tera mos.
That was Donja Donja by Ngugi and Udulele, giving us the vibes.
Yeah.
I think Udulele is still with Kipepeo. So shout out to them over there for the work that they're doing. Yo, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. That was episode 119. Fair warning to people who curate radio shows. I haven't forgotten about you guys. I need you all to listen to more Kenyan music and put more Kenyan music on your radio stations. That is a warning. And because I am saying it, you must do it. Thank you.
Wow. AFAM is a law, apparently.
That's AFAM's law. That's all I have to say, Sam. Yeah. Do you have anything else to say?
No,
do you have somebody you want to shoot at? Okay.
Stay ready. Next episode, I'm coming with a couple of targets, and we will
easy.
We'll go through them one by one, headshots one by one.
Oh. Okay. And on that very aggressive note, we will catch you guys on big episode 120.